Hello, my beautiful friends. I am Bleadon-Maffei with Illuminating Souls, welcoming you to this episode of Sleepy Bedtime Blessings, a podcast designed to help you rest, relax, and fall asleep, all while deepening in your connection with your beautiful team of angels who love you so. If we're meeting for the first time, I am an angelic practitioner, a spiritual teacher, and an encourager of souls. I have the most wonderful job ever. I facilitate wonderful classes over Zoom that are here to uplift you, and they change about every 6 weeks or so, so there are always opportunities to come into heart-centered community and come into an energy field that is profoundly supportive of well-being and inspiration. I also do offer one-on-one sessions, both through angel sessions and a longer form of support, soul mentoring. And you can learn all about my offerings at my website, illuminatingsouls.com, where you can also sign up for my mailing list. And then I also do my best to post regularly on my Facebook page. So lots of ways we can connect, but for now, the angels and I are here to create a sweet and soothing, loving space where you can replenish, where you can breathe, and where you can receive love and companionship. So this is a sleep podcast because I listen to one every single night, and I have for years. And so a few years ago, I was guided to add my voice to the mix. And so Sleepy Bedtime Blessings is a mashup of two of my favorite forms of self-care, connecting with the angels and listening to a sleep podcast, so you're going to get a little bit of both. Each episode is about an hour long. Usually for the first 15 or 20 minutes, I ramble a bit and share with you a little bit of spiritual insight and call in the angels. And then the rest of the episode is story time, and story time might be stories from my own life. I might read something that's in the public domain, like an old cookbook, or we might go through the pages of an old TV guide. It's really just meant to be rambling companionship, not anything so important that you need to pay attention. But I have always found that there is a soothing quality to hearing a loving, friendly voice murmuring in the background as we're drifting off to sleep. For years, I fell asleep with the television on. And then somewhere, I think around 2015 or 2016, I found sleep podcasts, and that was a game changer for me. My husband still goes to sleep with the TV, but I love to put in my earbuds and select one of the sleep podcasts that I frequent, including this one, so I can give my own testimonial that this podcast works for me as a sleep podcast. And so my hope is you will find this to be supportive. That's a place that you know that you are loved and cherished, and that the angels and I are going to keep you company for a while. So as I record this, it is mid-morning. I usually try to record these earlier in the morning, but I got a slow start today. I've been having a lot of slow starts lately. As I record this, it is early December 2024, and to me the collective energy feels unsettled. So you might be feeling this as well. It's interesting because when I am in practitioner mode, and that's what I call the shift in consciousness that I experience when I'm teaching or facilitating sessions. I feel bright and shiny and plugged in. And yet when I'm in my Earth Girl mode, that's my Laurel mode when I'm not working, I'm feeling this baseline of unsettled energy. It doesn't feel personal. It doesn't feel like it's mine. It feels like it belongs to the collective. And in one of my groups earlier this week, we were talking about it, and the consensus seems to be, among those of us engaged in the conversation, is it almost feels like low-level depression, not personal depression, so not the kind of depression that perhaps many of us have experienced in our own lives, but more like a malaise in the collective. And I think this is reflective of the energies that are present. I don't bring this to you as a gloom and doom forecast, but I think sometimes as empaths, we pick up energy. We can feel the energy of the room. And the room right now is unsettled. And if you're feeling this, to just recognize the difference between the energy that belongs to you and the energy that is in the collective. So to me, the difference is if I'm feeling unsettled or sad about something that is mine, then I can tend to myself. It doesn't mean that I have to make it go away. Listen, sometimes life circumstances, it is understandable to feel unsettled or sad or fearful, whatever that emotional response is to your life curriculum. But tending to self might mean invoking more self-compassion, making more time for rest, for self-care. And yet when this energy is being influenced by the collective, I find it easier to rise above it because it doesn't mean that there is something that I need to tend to within my own beingness. It is a time for increased self-care. So for me, I am finding that I was going to say I'm fatigued, but honestly, I feel like I've been fatigued for 10 years. I feel like it's a perpetual thing for me, but there is a shift in the quality of fatigue I am experiencing right now. I'm really having a strong desire to opt out of anything that does not nurture me. So I'm fortunate in that my work really nurtures me. So I absolutely want to show up for all of that. What I don't want to show up for is the task-oriented things either associated with work or my day-to-day life. I just don't want to do it. I'm so happy sitting in my recliner love seat with my cup holder and my husband, crocheting or watching TikToks. Like, I just need time off the planet for a little while. You know, I feel guided to share this with you, and I'm not sure how this weaves together. Many years ago, I was doing an in-person angel circle in our home, and we were friends with most of the people who were present at the circle, and one of the women, she has a lot of beautiful star energy, and she's very much connected with the light and love and uplifting humanity. And in the angel circle, we would go around and each person could ask a question. And her question had to do with something along the lines it felt like there was something she needed to heal or release or forgive, but she didn't know what it was. And Josephus came through and they said, well, okay. And they said, take a big deep breath in because we're going to share with you what it is. And so she took a deep breath in, and I think the rest of us did as well. And they said, "You have to forgive humanity. You have to forgive humanity, for they know not what they do." And we all kind of took a big deep breath in, and it was this wow moment, because, and I just need to say a little aside, there's some air traffic you might hear. Everything's okay. Just, it's a little noisy here. We all kind of took this big deep breath in, because it wasn't just the words. We were feeling sort of the wubba wubba energy coming from the angels in that moment. And basically what they were saying is humanity is early on in their life cycle. And many of us come from dimensions that are beyond where humanity is now. And so it's not easy to be present in the adolescence of humanity, because there's a lot of that going on about now. And perhaps that's why I'm guided to share that story of, well, you have to forgive humanity. They know not what they do. They are a very young civilization as it relates to civilizations in other dimensions. And I think this is especially true for those of us who have come here to help evolve consciousness. We are the light bearers, the light workers, the ones who seek to evolve consciousness and bring more love into this world. You know, politically here in the U.S., there's a term that gets used as an insult, and it's calling someone woke. So if someone is having a political conversation and they're like, well, they're just so woke, it's not a good thing. Like, they don't perceive it as a good thing. And I think, well, thank you. I've worked hard to embody wokeness. I mean, the wokeness and embodying wokefulness, I guess, can I say that, is actually what moves us forward. It's the energy of the suffragettes and the civil rights movement and the LGBTQIA movements, and those moments when we say we can no longer live in a confined society based on old paradigms. It is time to expand consciousness and take that leap of faith and step into deeper inclusivity and see the wisdom and the gifts and the brilliance that is embodied in each one of us. And I suppose that that's considered, if that's considered being woke, I am hopefully woke. I would wear that as a badge of honor. Not that I still do not have work to do, because we all do. But I wear my wokefulness as a badge of honor. So that wisdom of, you know, you have to forgive humanity. They are in their adolescence deeply resonates for me. And perhaps it does for you as well. So, my friends, the angels are already here, but allow me to invite them to join us here. So I invite you to take a deep breath in and just release whatever your it is, whatever that breath of this moment is. Release it. As the angels fill the space you are in with a soft, beautiful light. And beautiful angels on high, we invite you to join us here, and we are grateful for your invitation that we gather here together in the light, in the sanctuary, and in the loving presence of divine love. And angels, I ask that you bring blessings of love, of compassion, and of goodness to each of our beloveds hearing this message. I ask that you clear from us anything that is not ours, and anything that may be gracefully lifted, healed, cleared, and transformed. So, dear ones, just take a nice deep breath in, just letting go, Just visualize, imagine, allow it to be so that the angels are filling the room, the space you are in, with a soft pink light that is filled with divine love that has been calibrated just for you. That the angels know the prayers in your hearts, and they know your intentions. They know what is transpiring in your life, and they are here to support you. And I am asking them to pave your path with miracles and signs of magic, with goodness and light. And if you have any prayers or intentions you wish to share with the angels, I invite you to bring them into your heart now. And just allowing yourself to breathe deeply. You, my friend, are a beautiful beloved of God. You are a beautiful being of light who has chosen to incarnate in this time and space to bring more love into this world, to help evolve consciousness, to help the collective move forward in a way that honors life, in a way that honors compassion, in a way that embodies goodness. I've shared with you, I think, in the last podcast and for sure in other episodes, that my father's highest form of praise would be that they are good people. You are good people. I keep returning to that. Like when the world just feels like it is on fire and I don't know what to do, I remind myself and my people that we are good people. Good people are the ones that wind up changing the world. It might not seem like it at the time because the villains get all the airtime and the catastrophes, but good people are the ones that nurture our society, our families, our life force. So I invite you to breathe in and acknowledge that you're a good person. You're good people. You are good people. You're good people. I'm glad you're here taking up space on planet Earth. I'm grateful you are here. I am grateful for your love. I am grateful for your messy imperfections. I'm grateful for your quirks. I'm grateful for your wisdom. I'm grateful for the gift of you. So just take another breath in and allow the love to come streaming in from the angels and from the divine. And so if this is your bedtime, we invite you to cozy on up and snuggle on in. May this be a sweet and cozy space for you. And to give yourself permission to drift off whenever you feel sleep coming upon you. I promise not to share anything so important that you must stay awake and alert. And if you are one of our listeners listening during your waking hours, I hope that Storytime helps to soothe you and keep you company. And with that, beautiful friends, let us move on into Storytime. So I think this story time might be a bit of a hodgepodge. Might be a series of randoms. There have been a few threads I have been contemplating sharing with you about, and I also happen to have the Holiday Fearless flyer from Trader Joe's, which is about all amazing things that are peppermint, mocha, chocolate, that I would love to go through with you. So we will go through the Trader Joe's frequent flyer in this episode. But I also have been contemplating whether or not I would share this with you and how I would share this with you. Over the past few years in these episodes, I have shared with you so it was something I've called the plus size diaries, a little bit about my journey with food and weight and my understanding of things. And there is a little pearl that I have not shared with you. I've shared with people personally, and I've shared with people in my classes, but I have not shared in a wider forum such as this. And it's this little pearl that I am one of the fortunate ones that have had the opportunity to be on Ozempic since March. Ozempic is one of the GLP-1 medications, and I'm not going to make this whole episode about the GLP-1 meds. I don't know, that's a conversation for another day. I went on it because, as those of you who are regular listeners know, I had bariatric surgery back in 2020, the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, which I have loved. It has absolutely been a blessing. And it's not uncommon several years out from the surgery to gain weight. So I had started gaining weight, and that scared me. And I was fortunate to be able to get put on Ozempic. I will say it was not a cakewalk. It's been one of the harder things I have done in a long time. The medication for me was not easy to adapt to. It's the kind of experience where you titrate up. And while there have been many amazing benefits, one of the side effects that has been challenging for me is it has zapped my energy. So I was tired to begin with, and now I'm even more tired. I am absolutely able to go about life, however, but I've had to sort of slip into a different rhythm for my productivity and for my life. But the part I thought I wanted to share with you is something that I am fascinated by. So, again, if you're a regular listener, you will know that my whole life this has been an issue for me. I went to Weight Watchers for the first time when I was 7 years old. I'm 62 now. And I was definitely raised in the era of it's about willpower. Eat less and move more. And that if I was not successful with that, it felt like a personal moral failure. And I think that's true for all of us. I mean, look at any of the magazines from that era. And like, eat grapefruit for breakfast and the pounds will melt away. Eat the AIDS candy, remember those? AIDS, and you'll lose all the weight you want to. Right? Go on the watermelon diet, the cabbage soup diet, the intermittent fasting, the Atkins, every 5 or 7 years there was a new answer, and we would all rush to it because we've been so desperate to solve this issue, which I had spent most of my life believing was within my control, which I no longer believe. I think it's like telling somebody with high blood pressure that they just need to work it out on their own. Like, just don't be so stressed and eat more celery. And then if the blood pressure doesn't go down, it's like, I don't know what you're doing wrong. It's you. So anyways, that's my diatribe about this whole journey. But here's the fascinating thing. So I am not one of those people who has lost a ton of weight on Ozempic. I know we probably have seen others, or maybe you know of somebody that has lost a tremendous amount of weight on a GLP-1 med. I've lost about 10 pounds, which, listen, I'm thrilled. But more importantly, it has stabilized my weight, which is an enormous win for me. And there's a couple of things that people reflect that happens to them on Ozempic, and this is true for me. One is the food noise diminishes. So if you have had any sort of addiction, you will likely know that the noise from the addiction takes up a lot of space. There's an author that I love who speaks about this, David Kessler. And I'm paraphrasing here. This is not his exact verbiage. But basically, the addictive brain, especially if we're talking about food, is like a willful toddler. It will keep going, cookie, 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 for days until the cookie is eaten. And so it's a constant battle to not succumb to the voice. And so the GLP-1 medications quiet that voice, and it's a remarkable experience. It also slows the gastric emptying so that the food does not move through the stomach as quickly, and so it increases satiety. So here's where I would like to drop into this conversation. I've had this kind of experience once before, and that would be in the 90s when I and millions of other people went on to fen-phen. With my first dose of fen-phen, I didn't care about food anymore. I didn't care. And if I made a whole sandwich, I might only eat half of it because I'd be done. And it was a revelation for me. I had never lived in a body that did not have continual food noise. Like, it was incredible. But fen-phen was not good for us, and fortunately I had a reading with an intuitive who said, get off of it right now, and I never took another dose, and it was the next month that they found out that it had been damaging people's hearts. But I was grateful for the experience because it helped me understand that this wasn't just a will issue for me. There was something going on. And of course now I really understand. My belief is this is a neurochemical, multidisciplinary issue. Like, it's not a simple answer. So I go on Ozempic. And here's how it has settled with me. It's so interesting. So I still love food. Like, I think about food and I love food and I want to get food. Like, the part of me that wants to get the food is still active. You know what's not active is the part of me that needs to eat the food. It is the weirdest thing. I've been talking to my therapist about this. So I can get fixated on a food. So for instance, there is a muffin that I love that I can only get in Berkeley. So I'll be thinking about my Berkeley muffin. And then I'll be like, I've got to go get my Berkeley muffin. And I can usually put that off for some time. But at some point I'm going to go to Berkeley and I'm going to secure my muffin. And I'll probably get 2 muffins because, I want to back up. And then I get it home. And I may or may not eat the muffin. I definitely will not eat both muffins. So at some point, one or both of the muffins make it into my freezer. And for the most part, once something muffin-like makes it into my freezer, it does not get eaten. So what has happened for me is I am still enjoying the securing of my foods. It's not as much as I was getting before, so it's definitely, there has been a diminishment in my food drive, for sure. But it's still there. And so I get the food, and I don't have to eat the food, which I don't understand at all. It's like there's a membrane between the I need the food and I eat the food. The I have to eat the food part has quieted. So I can buy something and it sits on the counter for days. Whereas before, I would have thought about eating it constantly and I would eat it. Now, I just know that it's there, and so I'm comforted that if I have to have my muffin, there is one in the freezer. I know this is weird, but I just felt guided to share this with you in case any of the rest of you have had a life experience similar to mine. I want to tell you it is not your fault. We have these brains and the whole, mind, brain, gut, whatever access thing that is happening that is constantly giving us information and impulses, and it is hard to control. So one of the things I have been doing over the past, 6 months or so is, if you listen to the show, you will know my love of kugel, which is a Jewish casserole that is sweet. And I love kugel. And no one in my house eats it. Well, there's only 2 of us in the house, my husband Wes and I, and Wes isn't interested. And I cannot eat a whole kugel, especially now. So when I make a kugel, I leave out a few pieces, and then I freeze the rest of the kugel. Now, I should tell you that frozen kugel thawed is a shadow of its original form. Like it is not good kugel. But even thawed, previously frozen kugel is better than no kugel at all. This is my personal philosophy. So I made the kugel on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, so it's about 10 days later when I record this. And I left out 4 pieces of kugel, thinking it's the holidays. I'm sure I'll eat the 4 pieces of kugel. They're small pieces, just so you know. I'm sure I'll have them. I'll nosh on them, right? And just this morning, I'm looking in my refrigerator, and there are still 2 pieces of kugel that have been uneaten that I will now have to throw out. Never in my life have I thrown out kugel, but I didn't eat them because of this weird thing of I must have it, and then I don't eat it. I hope you can hear my amusement in this. I'm fascinated by this experience. Again, it was before the holidays and right after the elections, and my food drive was so high. And I went to the store and I bought 3 different kinds of chips. And I was like, I must have these 3 kinds of chips. I opened one of the bags of chips. The other 2 are still unopened. And I didn't even really like the bag that I opened. So there is this part of me that is still completely entertained and delighted by food. And I still have the drive to get it, but I don't eat it. Another example is right now, there's a really good kind of grape out called the Autumn Crisp grape. They're green grapes. I don't know if you've had them. They're delicious. I went to Berkeley Bowl, 2 weeks ago or so, and I bought some that are delicious. And I only bought a small amount because I now am aware that I will buy it and not eat it. And sure enough, I haven't eaten them. Well, I've eaten some. I would say about half the bag is still there. And then I'm in Costco. And sure enough, they have those boxes, like the 2 or 3 pound boxes of Autumn Crisp grapes. And I'm like, I need these. And I'm having this whole conversation with myself of, actually you don't, Laurel, because you still have some in the refrigerator that you have not eaten. What are you going to do with a 2 pound box of grapes that Wes will not eat? And so I'm constantly doing this negotiation with myself, trying to remember that even though I want to have this food in my house, I will likely not consume it. It is fascinating. I don't even know what to make of it, but it's the Ozempic. It's circumvented part of this, brain gut mechanism that has been tormenting me my whole life. So isn't it interesting? I don't know. I've been talking to my therapist about this. It's like I have to have the food, and then I put the food in the freezer, and then I typically don't eat the food. I'm like that with pizza right now. There's certain kinds of pizza that I love, not Domino's. It has to be a certain kind of pizza that I will drive miles for. And so I'll get the pizza and I might eat a piece because I like pizza still and I enjoy it. And if it's not a kind of pizza that Wes will eat, then it just sits there until at some point I'm like, I should really put this in the freezer, which is what my mother always did. I have become my mother. So shout out to Phyllis Bleadon, who taught me the power of freezing food. So I have a freezer full of, let's see, I think there's maybe there's 3 different kinds of muffins. And one of the muffins is not a good muffin. I tried a sugar-free muffin, which was terrible. And I froze it, thinking at some point I might want it, though, like not giving myself permission to throw it out. So there is a sugar-free muffin that's terrible. There is the Berkeley muffin I told you about. And I think there's one other second-tier Berkeley muffin in there. There's 2 scones that I bought at a farmer's market that I haven't even tried. But at this point, they're probably about 6 months old. I don't know. It's so interesting to be in my head right now. The other thing I am buying a lot of, is yarn. Yarn. I love yarn. I'm back to crocheting. And I have discovered my new favorite yarn store is called Hobbii. Hobbii. And they had these Black Friday specials. And I kept going back for more. I'm like, well, I need this one. And I need that one. Wait, I should get this other one because if it goes off sale, then I'm going to be bummed that I did not buy it. So my yarn stash has grown. I am living a wealth of riches here. And all of this, I think, is a coping mechanism for the craziness of the world. I cannot control what is happening outside of my home, but I can get my Berkeley muffin and put it in the freezer, and I can get my Hobbii yarn and put it in a plastic tub that will become something later on. So I'd love to know how you're coping. What are your coping mechanisms right now? So that is my weird ramble for you. Isn't it interesting? Well, maybe you're like, no, that's actually not. But to me, I'm fascinated by it. And this feels like a wonderful time, now that we're talking about food, to talk about the holiday Fearless Flyer. So again, what's so interesting to me is I love looking at food, but I do not need to eat it. The best way I can describe it is how I love watching people and their pets, the videos of them. I love watching people who do cat rescue and foster kittens, but I don't need to have a cat. I love watching travel videos, but I don't need to travel. I love looking at food, but I don't need to eat it. It's sort of like that joy from being a voyeur. Not a creepy voyeur, but you know, this participating through watching something and viewing something and kind of taking it into consciousness, but not necessarily needing to embody it. So this time of year is a wondrous time at Trader Joe's, which, again, if you're not in the U.S., it is a magical food store, and 90% of what they carry is their own house brand of things, and their products are typically whimsically named. They publish this thing called the Trader Joe's Fearless Flyer, which is on newsprint, and whoever writes this is so funny. And so this time of year, it's wondrous. It's very chocolate minty. It's very holiday focused. And in my sugar eating days, I would definitely have gone wild. I'll tell you all the things I would have eaten back in the day. So let's go into the Fearless Flyer 2024. So they have their mini gingerbread people, and definitely gingerbread is a flavor profile this time of year. I can take or leave gingerbread, even when I was eating sugar. Listen, if you offered me a gingerbread cookie, I was going to eat it, but I would not drive across town for gingerbread. They also have this thing called Jingle Jangle. Great name, yes? Jingle Jangle. So it comes in a tin, and it is a blend of different sweets. So it has dark and milk chocolate covered pretzels, dark chocolate covered caramel popcorn, and JoJo's cookie bits, which are similar to Oreos, milk chocolate candy gems, similar to M&Ms, both milk and dark chocolate mini peanut butter cups. And so it all comes mixed together. Now, I'm thinking that Jingle Jangle must have come out after my sugar eating phase because I've never eaten it. I've never purchased it. I've never had it. And it definitely sounds like it's something that would be up my lane, but I've never had it. And then I guess they have something new called Trader Joe's Jingly Jangly, which comes in a petite bag with about a cup's worth of this iconic classic candy mix. So listen, I'm sure if they had Jingly Jangly back in my sugar eating days, I would have gotten those. So the Jingly Jangly's $1.49 and the Jingle Jangle's $9.99. And they also came out with, I guess this has been out since 2013. I did not know. So they've now come out with Jingle Jangle for dogs. Though they say since 2013, Trader Joe's Jingle Jangle has delighted our customers with its merry mix of red candy-coated chocolate pieces. So it lists all the things that's in Jingle Jangle. So now they have created Jingle Jangle for dogs. It comes with a festive mix of Bone, Star, Circle, and pretzel-shaped biscuits in peanut butter, carob, and bacon flavor. And the pretzel shapes are also enrobed in peanut butter dip. Okay, so if I had a dog, I would get Jingle Jangle for dogs, for sure. But I don't, so maybe I'll buy them for my cousin dogs. Because I have cousin dogs. Okay, they have English toffee ice cream. Sounds delightful. They have Petit Four mousse cakes. I've never been like a Petit Four mousse cake person. It always felt to me like it was a little too delicate. I would much have preferred like a robust chocolate layer cake. So a mousse cake, again, if you offered it to me and I was still eating sugar, I would have it. These days, not so interested. I should also back to the whole English toffee ice cream. Trader Joe's is supposed to have amazing ice cream. They do have a Cocoa Truffles collection from France. And if it's from France, it must be really good. So the truffles, let's see, here's the truffles. Well, interesting. Made in France by a supplier that specializes in truffles. Each collection contains rich, silky cocoa truffles in 4 mouth-watering flavors. Fizzy, which offers a crackling pop as the truffle melts in your mouth. Popcorn, a delightful buttery treat that tastes astonishingly like its namesake. Cookie, made with bits of cookie pieces. And raspberry. Okay, so I don't know that I'd be terribly interested in the popcorn one. That does not delight me in any way. But perhaps it's good. I wouldn't know because I'm not going to eat them, but oh, this is a funny little headline. It has on this ad, it has a drawing of 2 people, and it says, "We sought our escape from the season's kerfuffles with a nice box of Trader Joe's French cocoa truffles." Listen, anything that uses the word kerfuffle, I love you. We need to use that word more. We need to use the words kerfuffle, shenanigans, and I don't know what else, but 2 of my favorite words, for sure. All right, and then we have peppermint-coated pretzels and popcorn. Are they 2 different things? I don't know. Trader Joe's Peppermint Crunch popcorn, like its pretzel-based predecessor. Oh, I see. So there's the pretzel slims in a white chocolatey coating with crushed peppermint candy. And then they also have a version of popcorn. yeah, I don't know, not lighting me up. And then they also have various versions of Trader Joe eggnog or Trader Joe onog. Again, growing up Jewish, I never had an appreciation for the flavor profile of eggnog, so it's something that I could just say no to for the rest of my life and never feel like I'm missing out on anything. They do have their candy cane JoJo's. So JoJo's are similar to Oreos. They are a sandwich cookie with a cream filling. And the candy cane JoJo's, as I recall, well, back in the day when I actually tried one, it had a chocolate sandwich cookie filled with like a peppermint cream. And honestly, I was not thrilled with it. But that's not, even when I was eating sugar, that wouldn't have been the thing I would have said yes to. I would have preferred just chocolate. So, but I'm sure they're delicious. And they have chocolatey dipped Danish cookies. Okay, if these are buttery Danish shortbread kinds of cookies that are dipped in chocolate, yes, please. Those sound fantastic. So they are made in Denmark. And inside the box are 6 Danish cookies of 3 varieties. And they are made with a short crust base, an almond filling, and then there's a coconut macaroon. Oh, those sound delightful. So I would have said yes to that, but I actually know what cookies I would have purchased at Trader Joe's if I were still eating cookies. We have not gotten to them yet, so hang in there. If they're not in the Fearless Flyer, I will tell you what they are by the end of the episode. Okay, we are now into some non-food items, which include the Brazil Nut Body Trio, and people go nuts for this stuff. I'm not much into body care and skincare, so, I'm not the audience for that. And they also have Ultra Moisturizing Hand Cream Trio. Let's see, it says a mandarin orange and spices scented hand cream, a fruity pear and vetiver scented hand cream, and jasmine and ginger. So I typically do not like things that smell like other things. So I'm not the audience for that, but people have been loving this on social media. And then there's pretzel bread pudding with salted caramel sauce. So back in my sugar eating days, I loved a good bread pudding, but it couldn't be too sweet, which sounds like a paradox for me, but if you've ever had a super sweet bread pudding, you'll know what I mean. I want it to be a little sweet, but not overly sweet. Then they have the milk chocolate coin and the coins of the world. In the Jewish tradition, we would call this Hanukkah gelt. Okay, so the Trader Joe's coin is huge. It's just big. It's about as big as your head. They say it's 3.17 ounces. And then they have the smaller chocolate coins. So I have lots of delightful memories of getting Hanukkah gelt chocolate coins at Hanukkah time. They do have dark chocolate dipped candy cane marshmallows. So marshmallows are typically not my sweet of choice. If I'm toasting one, delicious. But if I were going to be consuming confectionery stuff, it would not be marshmallows. They have a gingerbread cake and cookie mix. Sounds lovely. Again, gingerbread, not quite my flavor profile, but again, if you served me a piece, I would probably be delighted. Wow, we still have a long ways to go. I better be a little more judicious here. We have cinnamon spiced coffee. I only do Javi coffee these days, and the Trader Joe's French roast cold brew concentrate. They have spiced cranberry granola. Does not sound good to me. They have peppermint mini marshmallows, but they're mallows, so they might be vegan. Let's see, I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Let's see. They're just calling them, they are marshmallows, so they're probably conventional marshmallows. Oh no. These minty mallows are gluten-free, vegan, and kosher. Okay, there you go. But again, read the package. Don't take my word for it. They have a non-dairy gingerbread oat creamer. Okay, now we're talking. They have lots and lots of latkes, potato pancakes. Yum. I am definitely going to gift myself some potato pancakes this Hanukkah. I will probably make a lot of them and eat too. But what are you going to do? They have a holiday vegetable hash that I have to say looks really good. It's finely chopped vegetables that include butternut squash, sweet potato, red onions, and celery. It looks so good, but I know I would buy it and not make it. If I did make it, I would be the only one eating it. So if you invite me over and want to make some holiday vegetable hash, I will be very happy with you, but I will not be making it. Okay, they have English fudge and British shortbread. Okay, both of those sound so good. So again, back in my sugar eating days, I could not eat a lot of fudge. It was too sweet even for me, but I loved a little smidge. Shortbread. Is there anything more delicious in this world than really good shortbread? I mean, it's butter and flour and sugar and deliciousness. So anything shortbread, yes, please. They have some spritzy, sparkling beverages. So they have something spritzy. This way comes, love that headline, Trader Joe's something spritzy with grapefruit, a sensationally sweet, sparkling, festive beverage. Great writing. I don't do well with grapefruit anymore, so I probably couldn't do that. Okay, so now that I've gone through much of this Trader Joe's Fearless flyer, and I just need to tell you something that is just kind of cracking me up. I thought this was such a big Fearless flyer, but you know what happened? I picked up 2 instead of 1. They were kind of stuck together, so I was under the illusion this was larger than normal, but it's not. It's just that I fumbled and picked up 2 instead of 1. Okay, but they did not include some of my favorite holiday items from Trader Joe's that I no longer partake in, but the memory of which makes me so happy. They have phenomenal peppermint bark, and it comes in a tin. It's this white and holiday colored tin, and we have those tins in our garage that are filled with nuts and bolts and hardware and stuff because, you know, a tin is always reusable. So we used to love the peppermint bark, and it's really good peppermint bark if you're looking for a good treat. The other thing, I cannot believe that they do not have this in the Fearless flyer. They have they're little cookies. They're tiny cookies. I love tiny food because then I think I'm not eating as much. They are these tiny shortbread cookies that are dipped in peppermint chocolate with little sprinkles on them. And they come in a box, not like a box like cereal would come in a box. And so I forget what they're called, but they're like minty stars or something. Minty star cookies. I'm making that up. I don't remember what they are called. They are so good. Back in my sugar eating days, I would get us many boxes, and Wes and I would just thoroughly enjoy them. Then they also have a version that is not minty, which I don't understand the point of. But if you are not a minty person, they do have a non-minty version of the same cookie. So it's a shortbread cookie dipped in chocolate with sprinkles on it without the mint part. Delicious. Those are the things we would always look forward to every Christmas when it would be Christmas time and those things made its way to the shelf display. I would always load up my cart. Some of the things, I was just there the other day and I almost thought about taking out my camera so I could take pictures of things and tell you what was there, but you know, I decided not to. But they have so many different kinds of sweets and cookies and holiday festive things there now. It's really a fun time to go shopping at Trader Joe's. But I will also say there are everyday things that are not stocked. Now, I don't know if they're not stocked because the holiday stuff is taking up so much space or because if there's a production slowdown. But if you remember, several months ago, I was lamenting that there was no more of their fiber cereal, which Wes and I both really like because we are now at the age that we really appreciate high fiber foods. And it turns out that it was not discontinued, but the manufacturer was having sourcing issues. So then it came back, and I bought 6 boxes. But I wasn't going to buy more than that because I thought it's back in stock now. And now it is not in stock again. The other thing that's not in stock that I had not really bought was their strawberry O's. So it's their strawberry flavored Cheerio kind of cereal, which Wes and I used to get all the time as a snacking food. And I hadn't bought in years. But I bought a box, and it was delicious. And so I went to get another box, and they're not there. So I asked my Trader Joe's crew member to look them up, and they said they will be able to order them again on December 12th, both the high fiber food and the strawberry O's. So we will be getting more of both of those. So while they do have a lot of wonderful holiday food, they are missing some of the staples that I love. So can't wait for those to come back. And they also brought back the fiber protein bar. It's not what it's called. I forget. It's like a fiber granola bar. And I just saw the other day that they came back and it's repackaged. So I'm hoping it's still going to be good. So I will report back. Oop, there's my neighbor's dog. Perhaps that means it is time to complete our podcast as I wander through my pantry of Trader Joe's goodness. So here's to graceful living and doing the best we can. And whatever your version is of your muffins that you are keeping in your freezer and your yarn, whatever your version is of what you are doing to help balance your nervous system in this crazy world that we're in. So my beautiful friends, I send you so much love, and I am so grateful for our time together. I look forward to connecting with you again soon, and for now, I wish you the sweetest of dreams. Thank you for allowing me to share a little bit of my heart with you and the strange and woolly experiences of my life. And I hope I have been good company for you. So we'll talk again soon. Thank you.